And here's the man with the TV nightmares that are real fool's gold, Steve Penk.
Hi, and welcome to TV Nightmares. You've been fooled. It's April the 1st, the Feast of St. Beadle. And tonight we're celebrating the greatest hits of TV tricks.
Okay, hold it. From the top, everybody. Steve. Oh, Steve. April Fool. Get it? You've been had.
Oh my, I've been had. I'll get the director for that if it's the last thing I do. Now, if you've already been fooled today, you can take some consolation in the fact that you weren't the first, and you certainly won't be the last, as you'll see in Penky's Parade of Pranks. Fiona Phillips tells us about her morning sickness with the pregnant man, when Anton Deck's fooling backfired, and Esther Ranson tells a shaggy dog story. Now, if your idea of a great joke is gluing a pound coin to the pavement or ringing the zoo and asking to speak to Mr. Giraffe, then you're strictly Sunday League. The gags you're about to see are pure Premiership.
Well, after last night's...
It's the answer to the Tottenham Army's prayers. Brazilian striker Ronaldo is Scottish. Scotch miss, more like.
A team of genealogists in Edinburgh have, by pure chance, discovered the great Brazilian Ronaldo has a Scottish grandfather.
The best footballer in the world is out of favour with the Brazilians at the moment, and that may prove to be to Scotland's benefit. Stuart Reid and Robin Mitchell run Scottish Roots, and as genealogists regularly look into family histories for their clients.
They even unearthed Ronaldo's cousin.
I cannot describe the feeling I've got inside me at the moment. Brilliant. I mean, I tried to phone him and that, you know, but I'm just getting his agent at the moment. But when I can speak to him, that it's really going to hit home.
Meanwhile, hordes of children and a TV crew were fooled when a radio station in Liverpool said Steps were giving a free concert.
It's an April Fool's gag. People do it every year on April the 1st, and unless I'm very, very wrong, anything goes until 12 midday.
I do think it is disgusting where kids are involved. The grown-ups, we can take it, but the kids, it's, you know, how do you explain to them it's a joke?
Holland and a school that's more Strange Hill than Grange Hill. When a human skull is found in a school field, a team of experts are called in to work out the date of the burial. Watch the headmaster in the long coat. When the authorities uncover the burial date, the headmaster wishes the ground would swallow him up.
Right, let's go back to where it all started. Now, the news show Panorama isn't known for being laugh-a-minute, is it? But in 1957, it pulled off one of the all-time April Fool's classics. And because it was a serious show presented by Richard Dimbleby, everyone believed it. In terms of April Fools, the Panorama spaghetti harvest is the daddy.
Here, in the Ticino, on the borders of Switzerland and Italy, the slopes overlooking Lake Lugano have already burst into flower. Most important of all, it's resulted in an exceptionally heavy spaghetti crop. The last 2 weeks of March are an anxious time for the spaghetti farmer. Spaghetti cultivation here in Switzerland is not, of course, carried out on anything like the tremendous scale of the Italian industry. For those who love this dish, there's nothing like real homegrown spaghetti.
I can't believe people thought spaghetti comes from trees. We all know it comes from tins. But if you're not expecting a joke, you won't see a joke. So the best time to pull one is when your victim's brain isn't fully with it. For me, that's any time of the day, as you've already seen. But for the TV audience, it's normally first thing in the morning.
I must admit, I'm quite cynical about April Fool's things, and I always think I can detect one, but not that I ever have yet. But we actually did one of our own about 2 years ago.
Now then, we have got a truly amazing story for you. You might have read about these scientific advances in the papers over the past few months, but just have a look at this Texan couple.
We introduced live on air to our viewers it was America's actually, first ever pregnant man. And if you saw this guy's stomach, it was larger than life.
How does it feel to be pregnant, Alan, as a man? I mean, most women know who've been pregnant, but as a man, what are you feeling at the moment? You've got something large in there, whatever it is.
Well, I've suffered all the usual cliches, I guess you can call them, firsthand for a man. I've had swollen ankles, I've had morning sickness.
Having looked back at the clip, as I have now, I was waiting for myself to either break into a smile and give the game away, or one of them, or Eamon, or Dr. Hillary, who was also in on the scam. And I was willing myself, I was thinking, come on, give it a bit of humour. Come on, you've got to let people know soon this isn't... But we all took it so seriously.
Well, congratulations to both of you to start with. It's absolutely amazing. How are you feeling?
Well, I'm very excited, but also very nervous too.
Hillary, particularly, was the doctor playing this whole world's first ever pregnant man thing right up to the hilt.
Well, for a man to carry a baby to full term has always been theoretically possible, but to meet the first man in the history of the world to actually achieve this is a rare privilege, and I'm sure you're feeling so excited, and it's a privilege just to be here.
Some people actually phoned in asking where they could get their husbands up the duff or how they could do that. Some people said this has to be an April Fool's joke. Other people were worried about the guy. You know, they'd never be worried about a woman giving birth, but they were worried about his welfare and also the ethics of the whole thing. So it did cause quite some reaction.
It looks as though you're about to burst there. OK, Alan and Mary Beth, congratulations. Thanks very much. Live from Dallas, Texas.
Thank you very much.
It's funny how women view these things. I mean, now Fiona looks at that and it's sort of quite whimsical. Now, as two men watching that really, truly, is quite disturbing. Would he be able to actually feed the baby?
No, he won't.
Well, in my current condition, which is about 7 months pregnant and bursting at the seams, I think it's a jolly good idea, men getting pregnant. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not too far away either, but hopefully they won't look like our Alan did.
Dr. Hillary's got an update on the dad-to-be's condition. He's been speaking to him. Here he is.
Now, with the Weinbergers and Alan, phantom pregnancy? April Fool.
Right, time to go global. There have been loads of fantastic international jokes, with even the Americans getting in on the act, when in 1970, NBC ran a report from a farm that grew pickled onions. So for our next package, we start in a country synonymous with great comedy, Holland.
A scientist claims he's found a way of turning swimming pools into ice rinks just by adding secret potions. Lies, all lies. But what did the kids think?
I'm really disappointed because I bought my sledge. I think it's rubbish. Stupid.
Even ITN got in on the act with a story about how St. Paul's Cathedral was being torn down to make way for a bus station.
St. Paul's has stood here for the last 300 years, but for the past 30 years, the volume of traffic and heavy lorries going past has been shaking the foundations. So now the GLC say there's no alternative. It has to be moved, both for its own safety and to improve the flow of traffic.
There's a suggestion for a roundabout at the front here, and then to have a new bus garage, because since the fares have gone up, London Transport spent an awful lot of money taking their buses out of central London to suburban bus garages, and so therefore if we actually had a bus garage on this side, then that would save them a lot of their operating costs.
Over to Canada and an invention to turn red lights green at the flick of a switch.
The idea may not be so far-fetched. A Winnipeg inventor became so frustrated with the timing of traffic lights that he designed this, the Remote Intersection Controller, or RISC. It sounds too good to be true, so we took it for a test drive.
Sources also tell CKY5 that the city has started to number certain intersections, and if you put in the right code, it activates the box, and you can push the switch and get a green light right away.
Our vehicles would no longer have to travel through red lights. We'd have nothing but green lights all the way to the scene of an emergency.
Although this first attempt at the technology is rather large and bulky, the inventor says if he can get the green light from some of his investors, he might be able to get it down as small as the average garage door opener.
OK, we all know it's bad luck to pull an April Fool's gag after 12 midday, so for the TV trickster, the best show would be one that's on live all morning. Now, what show could that possibly be? Yep, it's the home of the makeover and a coffee morning of mucking about. It's the mysterious world of This Morning.
Long before I joined the show, This Morning actually did two rather fabulous April Fools. The first one was in 1992. This was called the Pollinetics diet.
The diet claims to harness natural magnetism to speed up the metabolism, which means you lose weight without eating less.
And at the time, I was just a normal person, getting up, just had my cereal, watched a bit of This Morning, greeted by this woman lying on the floor, waving her arms around in the direction of the North Pole.
People who are not great movers in bed, as it were, will certainly find that if they're not great movers, as it were, some people, as you say, getting all sorts of different contortions during the night. Right. But if they're lying still, they will lose weight.
And they got a guy on there who actually worked on the show, a guy called Marcus Finch, and he was the scientist explaining this diet, and they made it entirely believable. Then got another woman sitting on an exercise bike who rode for 2 hours, and at the end of the show, the woman doing the Pollinetics had lost 2 pounds. The woman on the exercise bike had lost absolutely no weight whatsoever.
You lost 2 pounds? You lost 2 pounds?
10, 12. No, I'm not.
1996, and Marcus Finch is back.
Now, British scientist Dr. Marcus Finch here has been working with the Japanese for several years.
And he's here to tell you about the Feng Shui weight loss program. What this is you take a line from the window in your living room to the door in your living room, and then you position a chair either on the line or over the line in what he called the Feng Shui weight loss zone. And basically you sit there, you don't have to move, you can sit in a chair, do no exercise whatsoever. If you sit there for 2 hours, you're going to lose loads of weight.
How much did this gentleman here lose? How much weight?
体重はどれぐらい減りましたかって、これをやることによってですね。いや、
英語で何て言うんですかね、1、2、3。多分8.
He said he lost about 8 stone.
8 simply by sitting in an equidistant point in his room.
What? Sit in a chair and your weight goes south? It's so ridiculous. It must be true.
You weighed earlier 10 stone 10?
10 stone
yeah.
10,
So it's 1 out of 2 so far.
Yeah.
Well, that's 10 stone 9. I mean, put it this way, I would say that from this day forth, the days of the British couch potato are over.
Yeah.
As long as the couch is in the right place, you can eat as many potatoes as you want.
Apparently, This Morning's duty log got about 100 calls from viewers. I mean, that's when you know when you've got a fantastic April Fool, because if you fool the public, you're onto a winner.
Right, we have to take a break from all this fooling about, but we will return with this bunch of complete April showers. The time on SMTV when Deck hit the deck. Esther Ranson's furry friend, and Johnny Vaughan's bearded bird. We'll see you in a moment.